Every black community, you have a Pakistani or an Indian-owned convenience store attached to the gas station. You got an Arab-owned You Buy, We Fry spot. You have a Vietnamese-owned nail tech spot. You have a Korean-owned beauty supply house. You have a Jewish or Caucasian-owned payday loan spot. Does any of them live where they get money?
One of the main reasons is the gangbangers are behind a lot of this. They control the flow of capital, and they funnel foreign money into our neighborhoods through programs like EB-5. See, the EB program is a program granting green cards to foreign investors who fund U.S. businesses and create jobs. It's a legalized scheme for foreign investors to buy their way into the United States, while banks profited by facilitating these transactions. These institutions often set up accounts for investors from abroad, enabling them to funnel the money back into the United States as a group. This is how they did it, and the banks was just a middleman profiting off the influx of foreign capital while leaving local communities unable to compete financially. You can't compete with the banks behind those people, because here's the key. When those immigrants didn't have the capital, the banks gave them loans. This is where programs like the SBA 8 and Immigration and Refugee Business Initiatives came in, all laying the groundwork that eventually led to the EB-5 program. And this is how those programs like EB-5 destroyed or hurt black communities.
None of these foreign-owned entities support even the Pop Warner Football League or the basketball team or the Little League Baseball. You never even seen their names on the jerseys before. They do nothing for us. So we live in a colony right now, brother, and not a community. The people that own the property and the businesses don't live in the environment.
And extract everything out of it.
But a community is when the people that live in the environment own the property and the business and reinvest in that area because they are benefiting from it and they want to increase the value of it.
And what that brother is saying right there is true. But one thing's for sure, if that started, then they would do Rosewood. They would do Black Wall Street again. These people do not want black people controlling their own community. That's why they put people there that they control. It's always been that way. I mean, nothing but the truth is being spoken right here. And that's the key. Every corner, every block, businesses that take money out of the community and don't put anything back helps destroy it. This not even about just black business ownership. It's just the people who own the businesses don't live in the communities anymore. So their dollars don't circulate. Why? Because of government programs. And the media ignored this, folks. Okay? Meanwhile, there was countless stories of affirmative action highlighting black people, even though we wasn't the ones who benefited the most from affirmative action and DEI. But this is one reason why I do not like gangbangers and drug dealers, because not only were they used to destroy communities, but they were used as a distraction. So while they was focused on business, we had to focus on our safety and survival. Then they made successful immigrant stories about hard work and sticking together. And yes, that's part of it. That's part of it. But let's be real. That's just one reason. The banks financing everything is the biggest reason. Listen to this clip of this Indian man explaining how a small number of Patel families immigrated to the United States as refugees over the decades to run their family-run motels. See, the banks wanted immigrants to take over black communities. They didn't want us to own cash-type businesses. Anyway, let's listen to them.
70% of the motels in the country are under Patel ownership. What happened was a small number of Patels came into the United States in the early 70s, the refugees. They realized that if we buy a really small motel, 10, 12, 14 room motel, the family can live in 1 or 2 rooms and the family can do all the work.
It's a job and a house together.
Yeah, so basically cooking, cleaning, front desk, laundry. And because they had no costs, they were able to charge nightly rates that were lower than all the neighboring motels. So what would happen is the Patel-owned motel would be running 100% occupancy. The other motels couldn't match that rate because they'd lose money. And as their nephew came of age, they would help him out to buy his own motel. And then the nephew would get it going, and then the next one, the next one. You run this for 50 years, and they've actually gone up market now. So a lot of the Hiltons, Marriotts, Westons, if you really look, you'll find it's under Patel ownership. And then they went into 7-Eleven.
Yeah, that sounds fine and dandy, and that is the narrative they want to push, that it was all about hard work, discipline, and family hustle. That was part of it. Sure, they worked hard, no doubt. But here's the problem. They grew because of the banks. They grew because of the laws and policies. That's what literally helped them, because they would have not been able to come over here without those laws and the banks behind them. Who is behind the Patel family? Banks invested in the Middle East because they did not want black people owning certain businesses, like I said, folks, cash businesses like nail shops, hotels. And I don't want to take anything away from this guy, but it was the government and the gang bankers behind everything. And here's how you know, because it didn't just happen with hotels. It happened with tire shops. I can go on for days what type of businesses in the black community that don't exist anymore that used to be owned by black people. And it happened all over the country, so that tells you it was a plan, because brothers in the South is different from brothers on the West Coast and the East Coast. But the fact that this happened in every community, and it all started with redlining, discriminating, lending policies. See, the reality of the system is they wanted outsiders to have opportunities to take over communities, to take over businesses in the black communities or urban community. And yes, they did build generational wealth, but if we would have done the same thing, folks, you know what they would have did?
What the hell are you talking about?
If we'd have done the same thing as the Patels, they would have found a way to destroy it, just like they did Black Wall Street, just like they did Rosewood. I don't want to take away from immigrants working hard and their determination, but let's be real. America has always had an agenda against black communities. See, they don't care if individuals they control have money, Jay-Z, Snoop. That's not a problem. What they don't want is thriving black communities. That's why they put guns and drugs in those communities. But with this modern system, it is designed to make it look like we're doing it to ourselves. But they're still pulling strings behind the scene. And that's it for this video. That was the breakdown.
Broke it down to its very last compound.